Here's what I know about staying and leaving. When to stay, when to leave. I get calls from parents and people, with camps and so forth. And it seems to be a question I get quite often. Very simple. If you're getting results, stay. If you're not, leave, right? And before you do leave or go somewhere, you should do a little bit of online research. Find a weightlifting program or a weightlifting gym or training center that's been proven to get a lot of results, right? Massive results. And then you say, okay, I have 2 of those within my area, visit each one and then pick one. I think sometimes we just kind of hop on board something without doing some research. And then sometimes people who it's called program hopping, right? They hop from program to program. They didn't do their research to begin with. So I know years ago when I needed work done at the house, I'd get in the yellow pages. I'd find whoever had a full page ad. I thought if they can afford a full page ad, all right, and they're in the air conditioning repair business, they're probably crushing it because that ad's probably $100,000 a year. That's who I call, right? There's no need to dig around. Find the best and sign up, right? Sure, you might spend an extra $50. Who gives a crap, right? At least it's done right. They show up early, they stay, they do what it takes to get it done. So as far as finding somewhere to begin with, there should be less leaving if you do your homework up front, right? Now, the only thing I'd warn against is this. I said if you're getting results, stay. Well, understand that your results will taper a little bit. So look at this. You go to the weight room, you've never lifted before weights. Maybe you as an adult watching this, right? Or your kids, maybe obviously athletes, they can only bench press 94 pounds. Before you know it, within a month, they're bench pressing 120. That's huge gains. You're like, does that mean that within 5 years or 3 years, they're going to be bench pressing 900 pounds? No, your improvement doesn't do that. When you first get onto a weight loss program, you might lose 14 pounds in 10 days. But that doesn't mean you're going to weigh 37 pounds in 9 months. It doesn't work that way. The improvement is sharp in the beginning, but not everywhere. You have to be in a good program, right? A good wrestling program. Your improvement will be, I tell my parents this, you'll be top 10% in the state or nation very quickly. I would say within a year. And state or nation. So if you're not even competing on the state level, we're not worried about nationals yet. But if you are competing on the state level, you're top 12 or 14 in the state, qualifying, winning matches, maybe placing, well then guess what? Within 1 year, you're going to be top 10% in the nation. After that, another year later, you'll be top 5%. And then from there, it's just a grind, all right? Because people say, we're going to work so hard that, no one's going to outwork us. No one's going to be more deserving. That's not really true, right? There's going to be a few. There's not a million, but you can't tell me that Olympic champion Kyle Schneider doesn't deserve to win the world title. He didn't win it this year, but he deserved it. But so did the other 12 or 14 guys, right? So the 12 or 14 guys who compete in the world title and who are winning matches, guess what? There were 3 of those guys, one of those guys beat him, and then he lost in the finals. So you are going to get to a peak where once you're top 5%, you're not going to be number 1 all the time, every time. Sure, there might be a few kids out there who've won 7 Pee Wee titles in a row, 4 state titles in a row, 4 high school national titles in a row, 4 NCAA titles in a row, and then went on to wrestle another 6 or 8 years after college, and they won 8 world titles and a couple Olympic titles in a row. There's never been one, but maybe there will be one day. So generally, when you get to be the top 5% in the state or nation, whichever level you're competing on, John Smith used to say this. He goes, Nick, be top 5% in America and in the world and everything that you do. Just do that. Whether it comes to being, parenting, working, whatever your career is, whatever your school is, he's like, you're gonna hit that. You're gonna be top 1% in a lot of those categories, and you're gonna hit that number 1 a few times. Probably not all the times. He's like, but over the course of your life, if your goal is to be top 5% in the world in everything that you decide to do, and you can't do it all, you have to pick something, right? Then you're like, dude, then you start working to be in the top 1%. Well, once you're in the top 1%, that's the last goal, right? And when you're in the top 1%, boom, you win 2 state titles in a row, then you maybe get third. Don't freak out and say, oh, this isn't working. My son won the powerlifting competition, or my daughter won the gymnastics state title 2 years in a row, and this year she got 4th. We're quitting. That's not how you do things. So if you're hopping from leaving a program because of what reality sets in, well then, you just have some things to figure out. But I do know this, if you've been doing this for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years wrestling, and you're not getting results, your plan isn't working. But if you are getting results, stay there. And your results should have skyrocketed in the beginning, then they taper off a little bit, but pretty much the trajectory is going up slowly. It might be a little dip every once in a while because other people deserve to win too, right? And they're training in the top programs in Pennsylvania and Ohio. They might get a takedown on you, and you might get third at the Ohio Tournament of Champions. I wish that didn't happen, but it's probably going to on occasion. But if you can squeak in there and win a state title or two, you can sneak in there and place at nationals, you can sneak in there and win a national title once in high school, and even if you don't, you might sneak in there and win an NCAA title, maybe a couple in college, and then you say, man, I snuck in there a few times and I hit that number 1. But it's a race to 10%, it's another race to 5%, it's a race to be in the top 1%, and then once you're hovering in that top 1%, that's where you need to be. So when you're looking for training programs, that would be my advice. And do some vetting in the beginning and some research. It's so easy to do nowadays, right? And call some people, ask for referrals, right? And I think you're going to avoid a lot of hassles in the beginning. This also goes for those of you who are just not getting into wrestling. Learn it right the first time. Become very successful right off the bat. Learn how to think. Learn about the 5 key power positions. Learn about the common position principle, right? Learn about your wrestling stance techniques, which are going to keep people off of you. Because body position does 3 things: makes you faster, stronger, limits what your opponent does to you. Positioning is everything in wrestling, just like it is in the weight room, right? So learn everything besides just a bunch of wrestling moves, because generally sometimes that gets you in trouble when that's all the focus is learning wrestling moves. We even practice how to shake hands. That's important. How do you walk on the mat? How do you walk off the mat after a loss? How do you walk off the mat after a win? All right? They're the same, right? How do you shake hands before a match? How do you get back to the center? What's your body language like? What thoughts should you be thinking before a match, right? What should you be thinking during a match? These things are all important, not just wrestling moves. Good luck to you. Check us out at purlerwrestling.com. If you had interest in training with us, we'd love to have you.